Perfect. That means everyone else can too. Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to part of one corner of my house. And I'd like to welcome everyone online this morning. And for those of you who know me, I'm kind of a high energy person. So to sit in one spot and not move and not talk too loud is kind of a challenge, but I will try to stay in this little box called my love seat here. And it's great to have you online. It's great to see, especially after sequestering for a couple months. We have several other persons from my city. This is Oaxaca, Mexico, and we're happy to have Kike here online, as well as Jesus Aragon, which is one of our students. And we also have Jim Freyland from Palm Springs, and a whole bunch of other people that have been invited. We're glad to have you here. Wherever you are today, please know that in the next few minutes, my goal, my intention is that I want to add something, inspire something, or reinforce something that's in your foundation to feel better and to feel your strength, because I believe you already have it. But I've heard from a variety of people during this very historic and terribly complicated week, nationally and globally, that people feel broken up. They feel unstable. And I want to add to your stability. I want to help remind you of your strength. And so in doing so, I chose a title for today's talk, and then I changed it as I love to do. I first called it Fear in the Time of Trouble, a Spiritualist Perspective. And I did that because I know that fear is quite often at the root and is the cause of so much of our emotional angst and troubles. And so I thought Fear in the Time of Trouble, a Spiritualist Perspective, would be a perfect title. And then I said, you know, even though I believe in fear, I don't want to add to that. I don't want to highlight it. So I changed it to hope. Hope in the time of trouble, a Spiritualist Perspective. Because when we deal with fear, we're going to have more hope. So we're inadvertently going to deal with fear, yes, but hope is something that we already have, and I wanted to add to that. And I kind of chose the phrase time of trouble or troublesome times because it's a kind of a double entendre. There's a lot of people in our world that believe that right now we are in what is called the end of times. And we don't need to go there theologically very much, but some of us have relatives or Christian friends or whatever, and some of them talk about it, and it's ensconced in some churches that the time of trouble or the troublesome times before the end of the planet is what we're living in now. And that's very, very relevant because it's different. It's 100% different than a spiritualist or metaphysical perspective. Chronologically, they believe this is the end of time. And so I'm going to walk you through a few steps that will kind of highlight some of the differences we don't see generally. I don't think us metaphysicians and spiritualists see us living at the end of the world's history, but these are troublesome times. So when we talk about troublesome times, firstly, some of them can be very individual and private, can't they? We can have troubles that are personal and private. Maybe something that we've done or experienced or someone has done to us, and we get it, we understand it on a very personal and private level. There's other troublesome times that are more corporate with a larger group, say like the people in your city or your state or your country or the globe. There's troublesome times that groups go through. And so the way we tackle those and to offer fear is to remember where we came from and what we are on a personal level, and to reinforce that every way we can, privately, individually. That's our ability. And almost half of our spiritualist principles that we read speak to that issue, that you are a soul. I am a soul. I have this amazing ability to direct my attention, and we'll come back to that in a moment. But then secondly, for the corporate or the larger group, we live in unique times because, as you know, by watching the news, Facebook, chat, everything else on social media, the entire world is happy to deliver to us real-time good news, bad news, troublesome news, dramatic news, in this moment. So this is unique. This has never happened in the history of humanity, that we are governing our personal lives, but at the same time, we're dealing with problems in Hong Kong and Singapore and London and New York and Minneapolis, et cetera. This is unnatural. And so it forces us, or gives us the opportunity to accept that challenge, that yes, privately, I'm empowered, I can do whatever I need to do to take care of me, myself, and I, but we're exposed to the world. We're exposed on a global level, moment by moment. And so how to do that? How to do that by turning off some of the negative messaging from people that believe these are the end of times. It's important to draw that distinction, because some of those people are not looking for solutions. Are you with me? They are okay with everything just going to pieces. I have to be okay a little bit with them. I'm related to some of them, like friends and family. So I'm not going to fight against that. But we have to understand that part of society is okay with trouble. Part of society is okay with not looking for solutions. And our metaphysical, our spiritual principles say, look for solutions, hope for solutions. And since we are creators, we are individual creators, we can influence the whole, but depending on where we're coming from. And so I remember that too, even though I live in this idyllic, beautiful land in southern Mexico. It's so beautiful. I love waking up every morning, and I still get the news and social media delivered to my inboxes. And I have to remember, wait a minute, I'm the creator of my reality. And if I'm going to offer something to the larger reality or the global community or Minneapolis or New York or a place called Washington, D.C., I need to be in my spiritual centered place to offer anything of value. If not, I become part of the problem. And so maintaining who you are is where you find the hope. Maintaining your inner strength and remembering where you came from will add to that. One of the examples that I like to share about this is that years ago, I was going through a difficult time after a divorce situation. You know what divorce is, okay? Dividing up houses and dogs and all of that. And part of my response from my divorce was to take my long ranch house, basically cut it in half, renovate it, so I had a duplex, so I could have passive income as well as my work. So I was dealing with construction woes inside my house after the divorce, a lot of depression and stress going on, dealing with the contractors and the dust and all that. And after a few months of that, in the winter time, I thought, you know, I really need to get away. Uncle Drew hasn't had a vacation in a couple of years. So I bought a ticket. I thought I'm going to go see my friend in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. And so I thought, well, that will be the cure, right? I was looking for the quick fix, not at home, not here. I was looking for the quick fix of distraction, get on a plane, go somewhere. Usually distraction is a great idea. It is a tool for the law of attraction, a very helpful tool when you get it. But buying a $3,000 ticket to go round trip to Buenos Aires is a pretty expensive distraction, isn't it? And so there I was walking around the beautiful streets of Argentina with these Italianate and marble buildings. It was just gorgeous. I was stressed out of my mind. I was stressed about my project. I was stressed about my divorce. I was stressed about the bills and the deadlines and the contractor and all of those issues. And so it was as though vibrationally, I was still at home with the same problems. I took myself with me. And so we always need to remember that the thoughts that we're possessing, the habits of thought that we go over and over and over is what destroys our peace of mind and our hopefulness. I felt no hope. And then I was passing by it was a beautiful church in Argentina. and I got a phone call from my contractor in the United States, and it was bad news. And I just lost it. I hung up on him, and I thought I'll go into the church just to cry because I'm on the street. The church was locked. There's a metaphor. And so I just kind of found a little alcove behind some columns just to cry, as a grown man, just crying because it was all so stressful. And what a great reminder that was for me, that we take ourselves with us, that we are the creators of our own reality wherever we are. And the poisonous thoughts, or positive and helpful and optimistic thoughts, is what we are in charge of maintaining, not some diabolical figure out there, like some world religious figures think that, oh, we're in the end of time, so forget about anything hopeful. No, I'm the creator of my reality, and heaven on earth is right here and right here. And these poisonous thoughts are our responsibilities to manage. And so we can gently help ourselves remember that, but also our friends. We're living in very, very unique times. And we can help our friends and family steering their attention. One lady, who will remain anonymous, she said her doctor, she just told me today, her doctor took her off antidepressants. She'd been so depressed, she was on antidepressants, okay? So she went off antidepressants. And she said on the same day of going off the antidepressants, she turned on the evening news and there was horrible rioting and problems near her house. So she posted it on Facebook, on her page. And with tons of empathy and care and support for her that I have, I just thought how obvious it is that she hasn't broken that habit of thought, that she's talking about moving away from depression, but not. Habit of thought took her right back there, and then to put it out there on social media. So we just need to be aware of those poisonous thoughts that we have. It destroys hope. And my hope and your hope is contained on the inside. And so I'll close in a couple minutes by using a wonderful allegory that I heard when I first became a spiritualist in the beginning of the 90s. I started working as a medium at Golden Gate Spiritualist Church. And the most wonderful allegory kind of starts like this, that at the beginning of time, when the gods created the earth and man and women, the gods said, wow, we have this most precious gift called life, the life force. It's the most valuable thing on the planet. What should we do with it to safeguard it and protect it and to hold it sacred? And the gods were talking, and the gods said, well, if we put it down in the bottom of the sea, you know, those humans are a curious people, they will go find it. And if we hide it up in the mountains, well, they love digging and excavating, those humans are going to go find it. So one of the gods said, you know what? Let's hide it on the inside, because that's probably the last place they're going to look. And that's such a beautiful allegory to demonstrate how we live. I love my food and my chocolate and my popcorn and my gardens. They don't bring me happiness and stability. Distractions of those, using those as distractions, helpful. They are not the source of peace and hope. Getting on a plane and going to the Bahamas or Argentina, great distraction. And something along the lines might remind you of what you're made of. But hope during these times, when we're challenged in so many ways, has got to be brought down to a personal level. I encourage you to find a way. Some distractions, okay. but each person, you know, we're wired so differently. We each kind of need to find our own ways to cultivate and to remind ourselves of the hope that is built on the inside. And I think that's one reason that I love spiritualism, because the accent, the focus is on the spirit. I'm not caught up in a world of theology or seminaries discussing for 10 years this point versus this point, and it's just humans' opinions. No, I love the idea. I am a spirit. You are a spirit. And so you have the ability to look with the eyes of spirit, to look as divinity sees things, with forgiveness, with patience, with non-judgment, and with hope in your heart. And so I bless you and I encourage you and I pray for you, as I do for myself, that we will remember some of these things and be reminded of our inner strength and our foundation, to have an amazing amount of strength and inner stability. And then whatever kind of spills over, which is so natural, whatever spills out of us to friends and family and context and the global community, then so be it. They will be blessed as well. Thank you, friends. God bless.